Joining us is Heritage Foundation senior researcher Eugene Kontorovich, and from the Foundation for Democracies, Natalie Ecanow. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You know, Eugene, let's just start with you. Sending troops in to monitor this peacekeeping. What are your thoughts on this, and how might Hamas see this? Will they see this as more conflict, or is this a good way to uphold the ceasefire? We also just heard from our reporter that 3 other countries, including Indonesia, Italy, will also potentially be sending boots to the ground. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so to be clear, the U.S. troops are not going to be in Gaza. There's not going to be any role in Gaza for them. They're going to be in the area, in Israel or Egypt, to help coordinate. But we have to say that one needs to be, immediately sort of skeptical and concerned about how this is going to be implemented, because international peacekeeping missions do not have a record of success. The United States just pulled the plug on a similar peacekeeping mission in Lebanon that completely allowed Hamas to acquire hundreds of thousands of missiles, and stood by and did nothing. There have been previous peacekeeping missions with Europeans in Gaza after Israel left in 2005. They could do nothing to stop Hamas's rebuilding. And the question is, who is going to actually risk the lives of their soldiers to protect Israel from Hamas? Are European countries going to do that? They certainly haven't in the past. So what that means is one can't really put too much faith on this international mechanism. Israel needs to continue to itself also ensure that Hamas does not rearm.
Yeah, Natalie, I'm really curious in your thoughts on this. Do you agree with Eugene here? Do you share the same sentiments or not?
I completely agree with Eugene here. As he mentioned, international peacekeeping forces do not have the best record of success. I will say one argument in favor of boots on the ground is just an outward and overt display of American support for Israel. We see on American college campuses and in the media attempts to drive a wedge between the United States and Israel, our strongest and staunchest ally in the Middle East. So this is an outward display of allianceship and support.
Yeah. An interesting development that just came out, my goodness, almost maybe an hour ago. The president did not win the Nobel Peace Prize this year. But, actually, funny enough, the left-leaning Washington Post, obviously not exactly a big Trump fan, now saying that Trump should get the Nobel Peace Prize next year. Eugene, your thoughts on this?
Look, I think the entire discussion assumes that the Nobel Peace Prize is still worth something. And, like many legacy institutions from Harvard on down, it has long since, lost any kind of real prestige by pursuing all sorts of woke causes. If I were President Trump, I wouldn't take it too hard. I'm sure he won't. This further just shows its irrelevance. And at a certain point, one should stop trying to win the Nobel Prize, or stop trying to give it any kind of respect or prestige, because obviously the president's accomplishment here in ending one of the most visible conflicts in the world would be worthy of a prize, if anything is. They've really discredited themselves, not the president, and I would stop trying.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. Natalie, I do want to go back to something that you had actually mentioned, talking just about the issues here stateside when it comes to Israel. We've been seeing all of the protests in all of the major cities, the pro-Palestinian, the quote-unquote free Palestine. We've seen people like Ilhan Omar just be really outspoken, pro-Palestine, all of this. Where are they today? Palestine apparently has been, quote unquote, freed. There's maybe possibly peace. Why are we not hearing from them, considering they got peace, free, whatever word you want to say it? They've been pretty quiet.
I think that's exactly the right question to be asking. This pro-peace camp, so to speak, has been, advocating for a ceasefire, for an end to hostilities for, 2 years and a handful of days at this point. And when Trump secures a deal that, let's be honest, sort of contradicts Hamas's core demands and makes it very difficult for Hamas to survive to fight another day, this quote-unquote peace camp, pro-peace camp, has been remarkably silent. And I think that's very telling in terms of where their true intentions lie.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness, what exactly were they fighting for the last few months if they didn't want peace? Eugene, we have about 20 seconds left. I would love your thoughts on this.
Yeah, everybody who's been saying we need to stop the genocide, should be dancing in the streets now. There hasn't been a genocide, of course, but shouldn't you celebrate the end of a genocide? But of course, they know there never was a genocide. What they were calling for was Hamas to win and Israel to lose. And that's who these people are. They're not people interested in helping the Palestinians, which, of course, this plan does, or rebuilding Gaza, which this plan does. This should fundamentally discredit all these people who have been chanting genocide. They never believed in it.
Yeah, the truth of what they actually wanted just came to light, I think. Eugene, Natalie, thank you so much for the discussion this morning. Really appreciate your time.